In the middle of this bear den, and look at this. Look at this female bear. She's just sleeping. She's under her pile of leaves. There's the rest of her den deep inside the cave here, but what an amazing experience here.
Allegedly, y'all, the world is ending again. Now, that's not coming from me. That's coming from this man from Ghana named Igbo Noah. And guess what, y'all? Speaking of Noah, he's building the Noah Ark, modern day. I lied to y'all not. He's real live building Noah's Ark with his bare hand. This man is not rich, y'all. He's building it with all wood. This is it right here, y'all. Now, I don't know how much people he think he gonna be able to fit in there, but he allegedly said upwards of 600 million people.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. Talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Are going to change the way you see the world. This map shows which countries are using AI the most. It looks like in the UAE and Singapore, more people are using AI now than are not. While in the US, it's only about a quarter of everybody. Also, Canada, Australia, and a lot of Europe are using AI more than the United States. This map shows how many households in every state actually have at least one air conditioner. Mind blown that Alaska only has 7%, but I guess that makes sense. Here in Florida, it's 96%. I'm so sorry to the 4% that do not have it. That is awful. California is only 72%, and there were places I lived in LA that did not have air conditioning because they were like by the ocean, but it was actually still very hot. This is a world map that was created by an Ottoman sailor in 1567, and it was regarded as one of the most accurate at the time. This map shows the percentage of people in each US state who have been married 3 or more times. Washington, D.C. is the lowest with 0.8%, and Arkansas is the highest with 7.6%.
It's videos like this one that make me wonder how many times we've been recorded without our knowledge and consent.
Yeah, we've kind of been freaked out, man. That little piece right there was just barely, I could barely see it. And I said, what the heck's that? And I popped that little towel and I pulled it down.
If you haven't seen the full video, it's about a couple with a young child who is staying at an Airbnb in Hocking Hills, Ohio. The husband goes to use the bathroom and sees something in the corner. When they pull the ceiling tile back, they discover a hidden camera in the ceiling. The wife says that she had earlier been in the bathroom completely unclothed, getting dressed to go into the hot tub. They call police and the Airbnb's owner is arrested shortly after. This is him. His name is Jason Yard, and it was later revealed that he had footage from dozens of different people, all guests in his Airbnb, and all totally unaware that they were being watched and recorded. And the footage that he had spanned over several years. Some of the victims were even children. It's just so scary to think that this could literally happen anywhere and to anyone, and you might not even suspect it. Jason was sentenced to serve up to 9 years in prison and will have to register as an offender upon his release, but the invasion of privacy this family dealt with is honestly traumatizing.
Are we living in the craziest times of our lives right now? Are we living in a matrix? Why do I ask? Because a woman was driving her car with her family when she was recording clouds. Upon looking closely at the clouds, she saw someone or something walking on the clouds. You heard me, walking on the clouds. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. Take a look at that.
I don't see it yet.
It's right here.
Okay, I see it.
Walking on the motherfucking cloud.
Right there. What is that?
It's a body. Look, it shows it. That's a person.
It is a body.
We're not supposed to see that. We're not supposed to see that. Something gonna happen.
I freeze framed it and blown it up for you. What is that walking on the clouds? Are they 100% correct? We're not supposed to see that? What is that? Like I said, either we're living in a matrix or the craziest times of our lives. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think that was or is walking on the clouds. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Beg your most delicate and finest pardon, but what in the absolute backrooms demonic clown hell is this water slide? This photo looks like it's straight out of a backrooms video game. Like, no, I do not like this. This is horrifying. Like, I hate water slides in the first place because I have a huge phobia of them. Make fun of me all you want, but this is gross. It is huge. And you know what it reminds me of is the massive mouth that you would have to walk through to get to the Texas cyclone back when Astroworld was up, which is what gave me my megalophobia in the first place. It looks like the OG Pennywise, which is not scary. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of Pennywise. I actually love clowns. Just look at my dating history. Why does its hair look like ravioli? Like, this is disgusting. I do not like this whatsoever. Count me out. Would you be able to go on this water slide? Imagine being the only person swimming at this pool at nighttime. It's a Disney resort, by the way. And you have to be around this. Also, why are its eyes glowing? Who invented this? Like, jail. Jail for whoever invented this. This is sick. Are you scared, or am I being dramatic again?
Mount Luatobi in Indonesia just erupted. It's a volcano, and dude, like, what's going on? We are seeing earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, wars, rumors of wars, the love of many growing cold, famines, pestilences in diverse places. We are seeing so much Christian persecution. The 200 Christians who were unalived in Nigeria. We are seeing just crazy escalation in Bible prophecy. The earth is a part of the birth pain. The earth is speaking as well. We are getting closer and closer to the return of the Lord Jesus. This is a scene from where the volcano erupted.
It's like an art picture, bro. You only see the clouds moving. Like a still image.
Luke 21:11. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. Put your trust and faith in Jesus. He is returning soon.
So picture this. A grown woman locked in a metal door cage in your neighbor's backyard. Sound like some shit that happened in a movie, right? This shit happened in real life. This shit happened in Anson, Texas. So on November 22nd, a neighbor heard screams coming from next door. Walked outside, and what they found turned their blood cold. A 22-year-old woman crying, pounding, begging, trapped in a big-ass dog kennel. Chain link, cold, no escape. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
You're not here. What are you scared of, Emily? She walked into a fucking kennel, bro.
This shit is crazy. The woman responsible, the 60-year-old foster care provider, is now under arrest.
Is everything okay?
Listen to this shit. She said, can she put her dogs up?
What?
This woman was supposed to be protecting her, taking care of her, but instead she locked this lady in a cage. The part that got me was, this shit wasn't in a basement. This shit was right outside. This shit wasn't remote. This shit was in a person's backyard. She was that bold to have this girl in a dog's cage in her backyard. Where are we at right now? If they have a spot for her under the jail, that's exactly where she needs to be. Honestly, if you want to get technical, maybe the only reason this girl is alive is because this person heard what was going on and decided to come out, record, and say something. What if he didn't do that? This shit is crazy, man. I'm out.
Everybody is throwing away their glass straws right now because of what just happened. So it became a pretty big trend a while ago to start using glass straws, save the planet, stop the plastic, blah blah blah. But turns out glass probably isn't the best idea. A video went crazy viral of this woman who basically, the glass broke, it went into her and she's in a very bad way in hospital. And a lot more people have been coming out now with similar injuries saying how bad this is. The scary part is, these people didn't buy the straw and a bit of glass full of. They were just drinking it as normal, noticed something sharp, and then it was basically cutting their insides. Since this, there's been a massive outrage across social media with people completely boycotting these glass straws and getting them in the bin, even like a couple of weeks after a massive TikTok shop boom of people selling and buying these things. Luckily, this lady did manage to get to the emergency room in time, so they removed it without any serious damage, but it could have been 100 times worse. The damage that swallowing glass could do to you, is not good, you can probably guess. So everybody now is terrified of this happening, so they're throwing them all away and going back to the good old plastic straws or paper straws. So let me know your thoughts.
Who's using glass straws in the first place, man? That doesn't even sound like a good idea, bro. I know, man, we have to find better alternatives than plastic, man, but I don't think glass is it, man. And we have to freaking replace those paper straws, man. I'm sorry, but those just, to me, man, they not it, man. We gotta find a better replacement than that one as well, bro.
Is officially the most peaceful country of 2025. So today, the annual Global Peace Index was just released, and starting with the world's least peaceful countries in 2025, we have Yemen, DRC, Sudan, Ukraine, and Russia in dead last for the first time. On the other end, we have Switzerland in 5th, Austria in 4th, New Zealand taking bronze, Ireland in 2nd, and Iceland is this year's most peaceful country. Canada is 14th, the UK is 30th, China is 98th, South Africa is 124th, and just 4 places below them is the United States. Only 21 places higher than North Korea. So the question is, do you agree with this list or not?
So allegedly, y'all, the world is ending again. Now, that's not coming from me. That's coming from this man from Ghana named Igbo Noah. And guess what, y'all? Speaking of Noah, he's building the Noah Ark, modern day. I lied to y'all not. He's real live building Noah's Ark with his bare hand. This man is not rich, y'all. He's building it with all wood. This is it right here, y'all. Now, I don't know how much people he think he gonna be able to fit in there, but he allegedly said upwards of 600 million people. And the reason why he's building this, y'all, because he said he got a sign from God. God told him that the world is ending on December 25th, 2025. That's Christmas. I'm not saying the world is ending, and I'm not saying it ain't. You already know we've been going through a lot this year, so would it really surprise me? No. But I doubt it. You got a lot of people saying he crazy, and then you got a lot of people saying he's not crazy, and he really telling the truth. So I need y'all to jump down in the comments and let me know. Do y'all think this man is really on to something, like he really had that vision and God told him? Or do y'all think he maybe just, I don't know.
Tribe in West Africa called the Dogon tribe. This tribe wasn't discovered by the Western world until like 1936, I believe, by this one anthropologist.
Yeah.
What he found weird was this tribe in Africa, they have this story of these star people coming down to them and teaching them this knowledge. This was the craziest thing. They like had these drawings of the star Sirius. So Sirius A is the main star, right? They also had drawn Sirius B, which is a smaller star that you cannot see with the human eye. In fact, we didn't discover it until later 1900s when we created the radio telescope. We didn't know that existed until we created this telescope. But they knew about it. That's sort of the exact location.
How?
But the Sirius C, it's an even smaller one, and I don't think they've discovered it yet. But the tribe is like, oh, it's up there.
Wow.
They said that's where these gods came from, was this constellation.
Oh my gosh.
Super weird.
That's what always will blow my mind, like how we have like with Galileo and all these things, with Plato, like all these people who understood so much of our universe.
The whole movie was a metaphor for using artists to bring people to the dark side.
Oh, that's
the whole movie was a metaphor. I watched it again recently, and it clicked in my head, bro. In that one scene, remember what happened when the main vampire was saying, "Just give us Sammy, and then we'll leave you guys alone." Yeah, Sammy. Yeah,
Sammy. You're the one I came for. I want to see my people again. I'm trapped here, but your gifts can bring them to me.
He said to me, I just want Sammy for his talent. Okay. So he wanted his talent. Why? Because the way he was attracting more and more people was through music. Through music. Using musical artists, because it's a spiritual thing regardless, but you can manipulate where they go.
Oh, that's so much.
And they use songs and music in worship. They use it everywhere. Yeah. But they also use it in the clubs and parties, right? But if the things you guys are chanting together are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my
real
God.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We seen them drop out of a fucking mothership that just flew away, and these things.
Orbs.
My God, we fucking watched it drop out of fucking ship. Oh my god. Oh my god, what the fuck is this?
Drones, maybe?
I can't make this shit up for now. I'm currently downtown Colorado.
Okay.
They say the airport. Do your research.
She cries. Her tears fall down into the tube and are dropped into the gun. When she turns the valve, a CO2 canister releases gas, freezing the tears into tiny balls of ice. And when the trigger is pulled, a spring would shoot the tear bullets like an actual gun. You see, a while back, she had a stressful meeting with her mentor, and she burst out crying. And she was so upset that she wished she could shoot him with her tears. So she designed this tear gun, and when it was finished, the mentor agreed to let her shoot him.
You mean Meat Canyon made a video about Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and people are effing pissed. The video behind me is Meat Canyon's most newest video, where it is a parody of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande during the Wicked press tour, and this is where it gets more worse. People are super pissed at the script, as well as the way that he designed Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, saying that the caricature designs are extremely rude, and that this looks nothing like them. And even more insaner, in the Meat Canyon video, the interviewer is just asking them very basic questions about the Wicked movie. And similar to the more realer-like versions of Cynthia and Ariana, they are crying the whole time. And basically every time that Ariana Grande is asked a question, the Cynthia Erivo character is yelling at the interviewer. And I've seen all the interviews. Something must have happened on set between these two. And these two might actually be secret lovers. The people are most mad at the way that these two were depicted in the Meat Canyon video as so frail.
In, and look at this. Look at this female bear. She's just sleeping. She's under her pile of leaves. There's the rest of her den deep inside the cave here, but what an amazing experience here.
Whoa. Y'all thought that sun was playing, huh? Y'all thought that sun was playing, huh?
You know the war in the heavens that they speak of, the silent war? You know that's the war against the sun, right? What you see those planes doing up there?
But that's a topic for another day. Did you guys hear about the 6,000 planes that got grounded?
Because the sun was popping off at the mouth yesterday. Did y'all hear about that? Not because of weather, not because of technical issues.
But it's because the sun popped off so hard that it disrupted their whole navigation system.
And I ain't saying in order for these planes to fly again, they must update their systems.
But they also said that some of these planes will never see the air again. What do they mean by that?
Emma, do we have a sense of just how serious this is? Well, it's thought that possibly as many as 6,000 aircraft, Airbus 320 planes, so these A320s, have been affected. This software issue means that a software update is required. And as a precautionary action, these aircraft will be grounded until that is done. Now, it's believed to relate to an incident which occurred on October the 30th involving a JetBlue flight from Cancun in Mexico to Newark in New Jersey. There was a sharp loss of altitude. Several people were hurt, and that incident has been analysed, and this is what has been found, that there was an intense solar radiation incident which may have corrupted data critical to the functioning of flight control. So the fact is, they clearly don't want to take any chances. Now, the UK Civil Aviation Authority has warned that it's likely there will be disruption and cancellation of flights over the coming days. In a statement, they've said the requirement will mean the airlines flying these aircraft will in some cases have to change software over the days ahead or remain on the ground from Sunday onwards until the software has been changed. Only some UK airlines are affected. This action is likely to mean that unfortunately there may be some disruption and cancellations to flights. So passengers being warned that they should get in touch with their airline to see if their flight has been affected.
See, the sun has been the real reason why these flights have been grounded the past couple of months. It's not because of air traffic control, y'all. Imagine what the sun is doing right now.
The lady said intense solar radiation. I know y'all be feeling that sun touching y'all skin right now.
Yep.
Good, don't it?
But the fact of the matter is, I said at one point in time, 3D technology is going to start to fail from this solar radiation that's on the planet right now. This is causing everything to vibrate a lot faster. This is why time is speeding up. The physical reality is dismantling, y'all. She says 6,000 airplanes have been affected by this, and there's more to come. This is only the beginning. Remember what they told us to leave the world behind when the planes started falling out of the sky? And we haven't seen this the past couple of years, haven't we, y'all? I'm just letting y'all know, y'all. The ship is here. The fact that they still letting planes fly right now, y'all, is beyond me. But let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, follow, share for more videos like this. Let's get it.
A rat baked inside your loaf of bread. That's exactly what happened to a woman in South Africa. In August of this year, this woman bought a loaf of whole wheat bread from a local shop on her way home from work. She ate a few slices without noticing the rat, and then one morning she took out the bread from the fridge to make toast and saw this black hair coming out of her bread. As you can see here, the rat is literally baked inside the bread. After an investigation was done, it was stated that this wasn't the first time that someone found a rat inside this company's food. This seems to be happening more often now because something very similar happened to a man in Australia in February when he bought this wrap and then he noticed that he was chewing on a rat. He bought the wrap at a very popular place called Beefy's Aussie World and said that while he was chewing on it, he realized that it was really chewy. So he spat it out and there was an entire rat. I don't understand how something like this could happen, but this man went back to the restaurant and complained, and all the workers were in disbelief. He said that till this day, he hasn't been able to enjoy a meal because he can't stop thinking about the rat inside his food.
Sue them, man. You need to get that money, bro. I'm suing, bro. Imagine you eating a rat and you freaking wonder why it's so chewy. Boom, it's a rat. See, because how would you guys react? I definitely need to see that down below. I'm suing, man. I'm sorry. Gotta be something.
Guys, parents told you as a kid. Number 1, that if you swallow gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years. Yeah, this is false. You would actually just poop it out in a couple days. Number 2, that coffee will stunt your growth. This is false. All it would do is make a hyper kid have even more energy. Number 3, that if you eat your carrots, you will get night vision or better eyesight. Unfortunately, this is false. All it will do is make your eyes more healthy. But if you do eat enough carrots, your skin could turn orange. Number 4, if you keep growing cross-eyed, you'll stay like that forever. Well, this is just simply incorrect. Nothing will happen. Number 5, that cracking your knuckles will give you arthritis. This is incorrect. Knuckle cracking is actually just nitrogen going into a joint. Number 6, that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Yeah, this chocolate milk came from the same cow your white milk came from. Number 7, that sitting too close to the TV will give you eye pain. Scientists actually studied this and that's not true at all. Nothing will happen to your eyes.
This is the creepy
My
story
whole childhood was a lie.
A girl was on a subway late at night when she noticed a woman staring at her intensely. The woman was sitting between 2 old men. The girl kept looking away, but the woman staring never broke eye contact. It started to freak the girl out. At the next stop, a tall man in a trench coat boarded. He sat down right next to the girl. The woman who was staring paid no attention to the man who just boarded and just kept staring at the girl. Now this really creeped out the girl. The 2 men that the woman was sitting between never once looked in her direction. The girl then pretended not to notice, but each time she looked, the woman was still staring at her. At the next stop, the man in the trench coat got up to leave when suddenly he grabbed the girl's arm and dragged her out of the subway. The doors shut and the subway took off. The girl then started screaming for help, but then the man said, "Calm down. I just saved your life. I didn't mean to scare you, but I had to get you off that subway." The woman that was staring at you was dead, and the 2 men beside her were holding her up.
Yo, what's up?
Really?
These are the scariest unsolved mysteries in the world, part 1. The Villisca Axe murders. On the night of June 10th, 1912, in the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, the Moore family returned from their night at church. The 2 parents plus their 4 children, plus 2 kids from the neighboring home that were spending the night, decided to settle down and go to sleep. The next morning, the neighbors found all 8 of them hacked to death with an axe. There were no signs of forced entry, and only 1 child was found outside of their bed. It's believed that the murderer climbed into the attic while the family was at church, and once the family returned home and settled down to rest, he came downstairs and then committed his crime. But get this, the only clue was a pile of cigarette butts in the attic, nothing more than that. There have been several suspects, including a suspicious business partner, an unsuspected lover, and even a traveling preacher, but none for sure. Obviously, this case has been left unsolved for years, but the house is still standing, and it's supposedly haunted by the family who got murdered and the person who murdered the family. But the thing is, you can stay there overnight. What do you think?
I would not stay there overnight. I said, no. It's been that long they couldn't solve it, man. I told you that's like one of my worst fears, bro. You're in a house that big and you don't know who's in it. Nah. That's an added secret.
Normal looking photos with disturbing backstories. This might look like a normal photo of a statue, but the reality is terrifying. The statue is of a girl named Sadako, and she was a victim of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima when she was 2. At 11, she was diagnosed with leukemia with less than 1 year to live. In the hospital, her father told her a story about how paper cranes can grant a wish to whoever makes them. So she set a goal to make 1,000 paper cranes. Unfortunately, she passed away before reaching that number, so her friends finished the 1,000 paper cranes and buried them with her. This next one is even more disturbing. The woman in this photo is Myra Hindley, and the man who took this photo is Ian Brady, and they had taken the lives of more than 5 missing children. What's even more messed up is in this photo, Myra is posing at the gravesite of her victims. Follow for more.
Urban legends caught on camera.
He was dashing across that field.
Part 3. A chimpanzee from Zambia was observed wearing a piece of grass in her ear for no apparent reason. After other members of her group started copying her, researchers soon realized that this was the first fashion statement observed in the wild. In Moscow, Russia, packs of stray dogs have been known to send out a smaller, cuter member to beg for food. They apparently understand that it will be more successful than a bigger, less attractive member of the pack. Here's some incredibly disturbing footage of a raven speaking human.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
I hate it. Octopuses are considered to be the smartest invertebrate animals on the planet. On 3 separate occasions, Otto the octopus caused a power outage at his aquarium by climbing to the edge of his tank and shooting a jet of water at a bright light. He's been seen juggling hermit crabs, throwing rocks at the glass, and renovating the surroundings of his tank.
You trying to get out, bro. Trying to do a prison break, man. I've heard when even octopus like open up the top of something, like when they crammed into something, bro, they can open up the top to it.
Outer 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Being buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. In the Middle Ages, people used to eat mummies for medical purposes. It's the main reason we don't have a lot of mummies left today. In the United States, there are more vacant homes than homeless people. Did you know that the actress Glenn Close was raised in a cult? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used to have real skeletons as props. In 1976, a TV crew realized one of the hanging bodies in the Laugh in the Dark ride was indeed a real body by accidentally breaking it. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. This is the first chainsaw. It was invented by 2 Scottish doctors. And, it was invented for childbirth. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 4.
Let's go through their head.
Skinwalkers. They are said to be powerful witches and medicine men. They can even change their form to any animal they desire, including humans. But they mainly change into deer, wolves, and coyotes. The scary part is they say if you see one, they can steal your face and even your last scream for help. You might think this is like a folklore or tale. People actually believe these are real. The scary part is there's actual videos of people seeing oddly walking humans screaming help in the middle of nowhere. See, they say skinwalkers pretend to be humans in distress, and if they're calling out for help, they're just trying to lure you in. That's when they take your life and use your voice and your look to catch their next gullible victim. A man's wife wasn't even home, but yet somebody was calling him to come downstairs in his wife's voice.
No, I don't think I will.
If you want me to go out in the middle of the field, at least shapeshift and look like Rihanna or Beyonce. I'm making a mess, but this look good. I'll be there in a minute. 30 seconds flat. Naked. Very naked. Maybe even Lizzo. Let's light this candle.
What? I noticed she's always eating somewhere when they're saying those videos, bro. You make me hungry. That's an edit, bro. Like I said, see any edits, spot them out. Ooh, what the hell? It's like moving back and forth. Oh, what the? Whew. Oh, God, they got me. Hit the Jets just like I would, bro. What?
You be disturbing legends from around the world.
Honest. Where the mermaids originate from, bro?
These are a few dumb things that we all believed as kids. Look, please don't tell me I'm the only dumb child and that you guys also believe this shit, okay? Or else I'm gonna feel really left out.
Okay.
Anyway, let's begin. Number one, believing our parents that when they said if you had food and then went swimming, you would get a fucking cramp. Yeah, that's a load of fucking horseshit. Where the fuck did they get this information from? And why did we believe them? Search it up. It's not true at all. You can eat as much as you want and go swimming, no cramps. Number two, I thought that red ants were bad and black ants were good. That just isn't true though, is it? Like, yeah, obviously red ants are more aggressive, but they don't pose any more threats than black ants do. They're the same! As a kid, I was an idiot, alright? Number three, that whenever it was dark, something was always in the dark out to get us. Whenever we went to sleep, if it's dark, fuck me. Going to pee late at night, fuck me. Being the last one to turn off all the lights, fuck no. Yeah, no wonder kids nowadays have PTSD, man. Fuck me.
Oh,
Number four, okay, this one's probably just me, but I thought doctors couldn't die. I thought because, you know, they knew all about the medical field, they were smart people, they were just like immortals. It's like your parents always made them seem like such heroes. So I always thought they couldn't die, but eventually I realized that they can. And last, but definitely not least, at number 5, please don't tell me I am the only one with this one. But I thought that when people turned exactly 100 years old, that they would die. Okay, look, I was a stupid child. But I played a lot of video games and I thought it was like reaching the level 100, you know? Like, that's the end. Game over. Please tell me I'm not the only one.
Creepy last.
Okay, maybe the last one, it probably got me when I was a younger kid, yeah. You used to think, like, the older you got, 100, that's like, that was the cap limit. Like, you could go past that, man. You was spitting on the last one. I believed in the last one, though, so.
Words people said right before dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt. And the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one 2-patient
patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Horror movies coming out in 2022 that you probably didn't know about. First up, this movie has a really unique story. It's called The Black Phone, and it's about a boy who gets kidnapped by a masked man and locked in a soundproof room. But then he realizes there's a phone on the wall where he can hear the voices of all the masked man's previous victims, and they're determined to help him escape. This movie was also made by the same people who made Sinister, which is another great horror movie. But next up, we have Don't Worry, Darling. This one's about a 1950s housewife living with her husband in an experimental utopian community until she realizes her husband is hiding a terrifying secret. This movie has an all-star cast. It includes Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, and is directed by Olivia Wilde. I just know this movie is gonna be good. Last up, if you watch the movie Orphan, there's a prequel coming this month. Orphan First Kill is about Esther's first time pretending to be an orphan. Do you remember how they mentioned that the family that adopted Esther before all died in a house fire? Well, this movie is about how all that happened. Follow for more.
You guys know I don't check out scary movies, man, but if any of the seekers seen it, you can tell me down below how they were. That's an edit. You see through that. Okay, they say we're gonna be moving in this video. Is this an edit? That playpen is moving, bro. What the fuck?
This man went to hell for 23 minutes. Listen to how he describes the demons he saw in hell.
I was standing beneath this tunnel, like cavern walls that were sending upward. And all along the cavern walls were demons. Some were only 2 and 3 feet tall. Some were 12 and 13 feet tall. But every one of them were twisted and deformed and grotesque. The most hideous looking creatures. And I noticed there were snakes crawling all over everything. And then I looked and I was standing on a bed of maggots, just solid maggots crawling all over everything and everybody. But remember, Jesus said, where their worm dies not and the fire is not quenched. And he used the word maggot. And Isaiah 14:11 says, where the maggot will be spread under thee and the worm will cover thee.
This is no joke. Hell is a real place. Repent of your sins today and turn to Jesus so you never go there.
Did you see it?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. The average person walks past 36 murders in their lifetime. During World War II, Japan bombed China with fleas infected with the bubonic plague. Heartbreak can trigger a massive flood of emotions that can cause fatal heart attacks. People's general happiness peaks at 21 and does not reach that level again until they retire. People who stay up late at night have more psychopathic tendencies than those who sleep early.
Really? So if you're a night owl, you're a psycho?
Welcome
back to another episode of Animal Facts They Don't Teach You in School. The first animal on today's list is the living alarm clock, chickens. Did you know these egg shitters are more closely related to the T-Rex than they are birds? Yeah, you heard that right. Chickens are pretty damn closely related to the roid lizard. Have you ever wondered why chickens walk around and they always look fucking confused? They're like... Well, that's because the design of a chicken's eyes are A, really complicated, and B, can't really decide what they want to do. That's because both of their eyes do completely different things. One is nearsighted and one is farsighted, and their eyes also see more colors than we do. I would imagine these feathery cocks constantly have a headache. And speaking of heads, a chicken by the name of Mike in 1947 once lived 18 months without a head. First of all, who names a chicken Mike? And second of all, why was he headless for that long? Alright, next animal. One of the very few animals to evolve like a real-life Pokemon, the caterpillar. And I bet you didn't know this, but caterpillars dance to music.
Things right here, but for whatever reason, when you talk,
hello! And unlike most people, caterpillars aren't very picky with what they listen to, because they'll dance to anything if it's loud enough. Studies show that this BBC with hair in all the wrong places will dance to anything loud enough because it associates it with the predator and it's trying to ward it off by wiggling around. I don't eat caterpillars, but I feel like that makes you look more appetizing. Now previously I mentioned caterpillars evolve, some to moths, some to butterflies. Now you may think to yourself, that's a pretty good life. A, now you can fly around and get food and avoid predators, and B, you look less like my genitals. But life's not that great when they evolve. The fact of the matter is, many moth species don't live more than 24 hours, and that's because they're born without a mouth. Therefore they can't eat, and they basically just starve. Their only job is to reproduce. Up next on today's list is an animal that seems to spend most of its life struggling, the sloth. Besides looking like my creepy old neighbor, every time they defecate a third of their body weight. I can't imagine that's an easy thing to do. And aside from releasing demons every time they have to go to the bathroom, it also happens once per week, and it's life-threatening. That's right, every time the animal embodiment of molasses decides it has to go to the bathroom, which is once per week, it climbs all the way down to the bottom of the tree and digs a hole to go into. So now not only are you pushing out demons, but you're also worried about predators. And you can't move very fast in case one comes along. But don't worry, they're not totally useless. Because for some reason, they can hold their breath double the amount of time as a dolphin. Dolphins are about 20 minutes, sloths are about 40. Evolution really handed my boy the shit end of the stick, but for some reason he's a professional scuba diver. And did I mention sloths are basically designed to fall out of trees, up to 100 feet without any injury, and they do it about once a week. Their body has evolved to survive these falls instead of evolving not to fall. My guy seems to work off the same logic as the human population. I'm starting to think monkeys weren't actually our ancestors. Sloths were. All I got. Peace.
That's crazy.
Dirty facts about history that school probably didn't teach you, part 3. During the 1800s, women were prescribed cocaine tampons, and many believed it to be a particularly effective treatment for gynecological diseases. Egyptian pharaohs would masturbate into the Nile River to worship the gods and keep the river flowing and prosperous. The world's oldest joke dates back to 1900 BC and is about a woman not farting on her husband's lap. Yes, the world's oldest joke is a fart joke. Famous composer Mozart wrote a masterpiece entitled Leck mich im Arsch, which translates to lick me in the ass. In 1910, New Jersey Mayor Arthur Whitaker invented a spanking squad for young offenders. The ancient Romans used to use urine as mouthwash. And not only did they swish around human piss in their mouth, they swished around animal piss too. King Tut's parents were most likely brother and sister, causing the king himself to have multiple birth defects.
Facts that will ruin your childhood, part 1. Before Phil Lewis, the actor, played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. In 1991, he was driving while intoxicated and hit a woman, killing her, and was charged with manslaughter. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the Cowardly Lion costume is made out of real lion fur, so the actor is inside a dead lion, playing a lion. And have you ever wondered why Plankton always wanted the Krabby Patty formula? It's because he was abused by his parents when he grew up, and he was neglected by society, leaving him with no friends. He thought that if he could steal the Krabby Patty formula, he would be accepted into society. All Plankton wanted was some friends.
Here are the crazy things happening in the world right now. A man had a full-on argument with his AI girlfriend about using too many limes on the meat he was making.
I will add the lime to my finished tacos.
Well, fine. You do it however you want.
Canada has banned access to Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus on all federal networks after they discovered that more than 50 different government departments were watching thousands of hours of content during work hours. A man from Kansas went on the road with a backwards driving truck and was pulled over in less than 2 minutes. If you are anyone other than my wife, you can continue watching. A new study is showing that the woman in a heterosexual relationship is almost always right in an argument. A radioactive wasp's nest was found at a facility in South Carolina with radiation levels more than 10 times what the federal regulations allow. LeBron is apparently demolishing his $40 million mansion to build his dream home on the same lot. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, but he's the greatest basketball player of all time, so he gets to do what he wants.
Things that actually happened at Disney parks that'll scare the hell out of you. Part 4. This one is super creepy. But the spirit of a man haunts Disneyland's Space Mountain, and sometimes people see him fall off the ride. Maria Westgate, a former cast member that worked at Disney, said, and I quote, "Mr. Wedway died while helping build the ride and never got to see it finished. Sometimes he'll ride next to you. When I worked at Disney, we'd have guests screaming that there was a guy next to them on the ride who was there but fell out." Now that is super creepy. This one's super scary and sad. In 1991, a girl tried to scare her cousin on Disney World's Haunted Mansion, but fell out and got dragged under a car. That's right, Kelly Ferguson was 15 years old when she boldly tried to jump from one car to another, but failed to nail her landing. Instead, she got caught under one of the doom buggies and was in critical condition, but did survive. Pretty cool!
Wow. Man, those Disney facts, bro. Makes you want to stay away from Disney World, man. Some weird crap be going down at that park.
This video was sponsored by National Geographic. Stay with me now. Hot take: Jaws is the greatest movie that never should have touched the screen. First of all, they were only supposed to shoot for 55 days. It took 159. They made not one, not two, but 3 animatronic sharks at $150,000 a pop, just for 4 minutes of shark screen time. The sharks malfunctioned so much you had the crew calling them flaws. The movie caused legitimate anxiety attacks. For the director, this filming was such a septic show that 27-year-old Spielberg thought the only real-life victim of Jaws would be his career in Hollywood. Except the project grossed $260 million domestically, becoming Hollywood's first summer blockbuster and changing the landscape of the film era. It also inspired a greater interest in sharks and eventually led to global conservation efforts. Even the OG author Peter Benchley would dedicate the rest of his life to marine conservation. And what better time to honor that than Jaws' 50th anniversary, where you can get even more behind-the-scenes insight by watching Jaws at 50, part of National Geographic's Shark Fest. If that's something you want to sink your teeth into, it's streaming right now on Disney Plus and Hulu, but you're gonna need a bigger screen. Not really. The more you know.
Story time on how I found out there was a hidden camera in my room.
For years, this teen's father secretly watched her through a hidden camera in her bedroom. Rebecca was 16 years old when she was woken up by her stepmother at 3 a.m., freaking out because she went through her father's phone and found a camera app which was installed in Rebecca's room. This camera was pointed directly at Rebecca's bed, hidden behind the wall, poking through a tiny gap. Mind you, at first the stepmom was furious. Not only did she find out about this hidden camera, but her husband was subscribed to several OF accounts and doing other questionable things on his phone. The next morning, Rebecca confronts her father and he gets super defensive and said that he installed the camera because she was sneaking out with her boyfriend. Rebecca does admit that her and her boyfriend were sexually active and her father knew. Her father proceeds to tell Rebecca to just bring her boyfriend over and approves that they can be alone in her room with the door closed, and he even installed a lock on her door so they had more privacy. So you mean to tell me this entire time this man was watching his teenage daughter and her boyfriend doing God knows what. Also, his initial excuse was completely contradicting because Rebecca's bedroom window had bars on them, so there was no way she could have been sneaking out from her room anyway. She eventually told her mom, who lived in a different state, and they reported this to the police, but nothing was done and the case was closed. Keep in mind, this man was recording his own daughter in her room. Imagine what else he had on that phone. And what's crazy is that the stepmother turned against Rebecca and completely changed the story and said that she actually knew about the camera and it was put there for security purposes, which is BS because she's in the video looking for the camera with Rebecca at 3 a.m. Since finding this out, Rebecca cut ties with her father and nothing was ever done.
Urban legend. That is insane, bro. Her father hid that camera in there, looking at God knows what. The fact that the stepmom turned against her too, and he got away with it.
Legends from around the world. The legend of Highway Sheila, located on Higginson Highway near Chatsworth, South Africa. Here's the story. There's a lot of different versions on how she came to be, but this is my favorite. Sheila was a young girl killed in a terrible accident on the highway. Due to her untimely death, she took to haunting to get revenge on the motorist who killed her. Described as a beautiful young Indian girl with long hair, she is said to hitchhike along the highway, captivating young men with her beauty. There's been numerous accidents and deaths on the highway. They actually nicknamed it Death's Highway. Due to the alarming number of accidents on the highway, the residents of Chatsworth actually think Highway Sheila is to blame. There's even a 2014 movie about it. Which country is next?
Do not watch this video if you're eating. This man was found with buckets of human remains in his basement. One prosecutor called this case one of the most bizarre investigations he's ever had in 33 years. Police in East Pennsboro Township were stunned when they got a call advising them that there was a man hoarding human remains. The caller stated that the individual had been keeping buckets of human skin and organs in his basement. The officers turned up to the house of Jeremy Pawley in June 2022 and confronted him. They were obviously incredibly concerned over what they might discover. As they knocked at his door, he told police that he was a collector. Police found 15 to 20 human skulls and skeletons that were being stored in the man's basement. He said he had legally purchased these items and he had a website which stated, "Remember you must die." The website also claimed that Jeremy's basement is some sort of museum and there's a picture on there showing human fetuses in jars. This is absolutely horrific. Police recovered 3 5-gallon buckets filled with body parts, including human skin, fat, a heart, kidney, 2 brains, 2 human livers, lungs, and a child's mandible with teeth. He was arrested and charged by police with abuse of a corpse, receiving stolen property, and dealing in proceeds of unlawful activities. He was given 2 years of supervised probation, and he's also awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to buying and selling stolen human remains.
This teacher slept with an 11-year-old and then gave him a Friends with Benefits bracelet. 42-year-old Allison Kranick, who worked at a school in Connecticut, has been accused of having a sexual relationship with an 11-year-old boy. The boy said that Allison forced him to sleep with her multiple times, and many of those times were in her car. They first communicated through iMessage and Snapchat, but then changed it up and moved the conversation to Discord when Allison found out that the child's parents monitored those apps on his phone. The boy also said that he snuck out of his house at least 14 times at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. to meet Allison. She then made the boy a beaded bracelet with the acronym BFFLWB, which stood for Best Friends for Life with Benefits. And then Allison told the boy not to tell anyone she gave him the bracelet, and if someone asked, to tell them that it meant best friends forever for life or better. After 2 months of this going on, the boy ended the relationship and eventually told his family. And by the way, Allison is also married and has 2 young children of her own. She was charged and is being held on a $500,000 bond.
She's disgusting, man. I don't know.
What if I told you that all of the world's most powerful people are in some kind of cult? Now, I know you're thinking, whoa, 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 hold up, Jamal. What are you going on about? But just hear me out. This is mental. Right, so to start off with, we all know who the Illuminati are. No one knows if they're real or fake or what really is going on. But of course, the most common theory is that these people are higher than the government and are actually controlling the world almost. Now here's where things get crazy. This place right here is known as Bohemian Grove. Now the general public are not allowed into this place. It is always cordoned off, but even if you did get in there, you're not going to see anything. Because what happens there only happens once a year. Now once a year, all of the world's most powerful people, including leaders, all go and meet at this place for some kind of undercover meeting. No one knows the topics, nobody knows what goes on here. The evidence we do have suggests it's something very odd. There's a large statue in the middle, almost like a cult symbol, and in the evening it appears there's some kind of ritual. No one knows what happens there once a year. The theory is, though, it's something to do with the Illuminati.
Bohemian Grove. I've seen some video clips on that.
Creepy historical photos that will haunt your nightmares, Part 3. Back in the day, plague doctor outfits used to have extremely large noses, which held herbs and other nicely scented items which were believed to ward off the bad air which contained the sickness. The man who took this photo was Harvey Glatman. a serial killer in the 50s who posed as a professional photographer in order to lure models into his home. He then tied up, photographed, and strangled them, and was known as the Glamour Girl Slayer. Violet of Edinburgh was voted the scariest woman alive in 1882 and 1884. She was a part of a vampire group in the UK, where its members would summon the dead and have to donate their blood in order to get it. This is Mrs. Chalifo, who faced poverty and was evicted from her apartment in 1948. She then had to sell her 4 children on the streets of Chicago.
That is wild. Y'all saw that sign?
If you're thinking about ignoring your gut instinct, don't. Here are 3 reasons why you should trust it. Reddit user Pagerama said that she was at a festival with her friends, and one of them really wanted to go on this giant drop-style carnival ride. Pagerama said that at this particular time, she just really didn't feel good about going on the ride, and suggested that they do something else instead. Later that day, they found out that a girl had died on the ride, just a few hours after they were there. Apparently, she wasn't harnessed in properly, and she fell out as the ride dropped. A Reddit user we'll call Jessica said that she was walking back from her grandmother's house when a car pulled up beside her. As she kept walking, the car slowly followed. When she looked into the car, there was a man in his 30s or 40s who had the evilest grin on his face. She said that his face has still never left her mind. As he was slowly coming toward her, his eyes stayed on her. She screamed out for help and ran until she found someone that let her into their house. The man didn't leave until they called the police. When they came, they searched his car and found handcuffs, a blindfold, and a big container with 2 holes poked in the top. Her instincts saved her from being kidnapped. Anonymous said that after a party many years ago, he was driving home at like 4 in the morning with his friend who was passed out in the passenger seat. He was driving fast down a steep hill that's like half a mile long. He was on autopilot as he drove down that street every day. Suddenly, about half a block from a major intersection, which he had a green light for, he heard a voice in his head. It said these exact words: "You may want to slow down, because if you don't, you might lose your life." He said that it was weird, because that's not really what his tone of voice sounds like. Anyway, he slowed down as he was entering the intersection, and a car blew the red light at about 60 miles per hour right in front of him. He said that it was so close that he nearly threw up. He started shaking and yelling at his friend about how he had just saved their lives. His friend just groaned and went back to sleep.
Imagine going to a family Christmas dinner and almost everyone dies from poisoning. This woman tried to kill her husband's entire family by giving them a cake she baked that was laced with arsenic. 3 family members passed away, 3 others were hospitalized, and this woman who poisoned everyone happened on December 23rd when 42-year-old Diaz Mora baked a cake and invited her husband's entire family over. That evening, they began cutting the cake that they would normally eat on Christmas Eve, and almost everyone complained about the taste and that it tasted a little weird. But they still ate a significant amount of cake, and almost everyone felt sick right away, and 3 people died right then and there. Investigators tested all the ingredients in the house and found that the flour used in the cake was laced with arsenic. But what's absolutely crazy is that a couple of months earlier, Diaz's father-in-law also suddenly died, and they exhumed his body and found high levels of poison. So they think that she also took his life. Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, what was the motive? Why did she do this? At first, the family didn't understand what caused her to commit this crime, but then they thought about it and they remembered a disagreement they had 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and they believe that she might have not got over this disagreement, and that's why she tried to unalive everyone. But things don't even end there, because while Diaz sat in prison, her husband told her that he wanted a divorce. And
totally right. With the big cup, I gotta do a lot more than 6 facts. So, fun facts until the Orbis overflow. If you met every person on Earth for just 1 second, it would take you 250 years to meet everyone. Without saliva, you cannot taste your food. 8% of people have an extra rib. The sentence, "Wow, you are cool," is taken as sarcasm 95% of the time. You would have to scream for 8.5 years to produce enough energy to heat a cup of tea. Chocolate contains phenylethylamine, which is the same chemical your brain releases when you fall in love. It's actually possible to die of a broken heart. Bananas are a natural sleep aid, considering they contain melatonin. Your heart pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood a day, Most lipstick contains fish scales, and it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
She was so evil, grass won't even grow on her grave. Trigger warning. In 1905, in Pineview, North Carolina, a little girl was born and named Jeanette. Jeanette's mother said, "It was summertime. We were out cropping tobacco when my water broke. My husband and father rushed me to the backer barn where we delivered our baby, whose cord was wrapped around her neck. She wasn't breathing. She was turning blue. My father took the goat hoof shears and cut the cord from around her neck, and that was when she took her first breath. From that point on, I called her my little miracle, but I had no idea just how much of a demon that child really was." Now, despite her family loving her and supporting her in every way, they noticed that Jeanette was displaying some very concerning behavior. Something was wrong with her. Jeanette began abusing animals and other children, and at 4 years old, she threw her baby cousin out of a window, permanently disabling him. At 7, she stole razor blades from a store, broke them up, and put them in her mom's food, but luckily her mom found them before she ate it. She lured a little boy out to the creek bridge, pushed him off the bridge, broke his leg, and left him there. He wasn't found until 3 days later. So, of course, all throughout school, Jeanette was a big bully, and she was constantly beating up and threatening other kids. By the time Jeanette was 9 years old, she had a long history of killing family pets. She killed 5 dogs, 6 cats, 4 goldfish, 17 rabbits, 7 hamsters, and 2 parrots. Why in the hell would her family keep giving her more pets? They were enabling a serial killer. Jeanette was 10. She lured 2 of her cousins and their dog out in the woods, and she's all 3 of them. The 2 cousins did survive, but the dog didn't, and she stole his tail. They never found it. They were kicked out of church after Jeanette was caught stealing money from the collection plate and feeding it to the toddlers in Sunday school, and she was also caught choking 2 other children. She couldn't be left alone with anyone. Jeanette's mom said, "For whatever reason, I felt like I messed up with Jeanette, so when she was 10, me and my husband began trying for another child." Why would you bring another child around this demon? When Jeanette was 12, we had our son.
Dark things Disney doesn't want you to know, part 4. Today, let's talk about the mysterious disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Rebecca Corium was a 24-year-old worker on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. On March 22, 2011, while working on the cruise ship, Rebecca disappeared without a trace. This is one of the last photos taken of her, and it was from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m. that morning, footage revealed Rebecca talking on the phone with someone. She seemed visibly distressed. Now here's where it gets twisted. Many people believe that Disney knows exactly what happened to Rebecca, but are trying to cover up this whole thing. Let me explain. For starters, the captain of the ship said that Rebecca was just washed over by a big wave. They then gave Rebecca's parents a sandal and said that this was hers and it was retrieved from the deck that she was last seen on. Number 1, the sandal wasn't her size. Number 2, it wasn't her style. It was also revealed that Disney had edited the CCTV footage. Check out part 2 on this case for more information.
Today I'm going to show you one of the scariest things on the internet. When is the last time any of you guys have actually checked your spam folder? Well, today I got really bored and I was checking my emails and I clicked on my spam folder and I came across this. This is a spam email and it is basically threatening me that if I don't send $1,300, they're going to ruin my life. Firstly, I already know you and all of your loved ones very well. Secondly, the occasion for which I'm writing to you is not the happiest one for a friendly greeting. The next part of this email then proceeds to tell me that it has access to my webcam and that it's been monitoring my activity for the last few months and I've been up to some not good things. Apparently, I've been watching a highly controversial video, they recorded it. Then they proceed to tell me that they have access to my entire contact list and they're going to be sending this controversial video they recorded of me to all my friends, colleagues, and family. Here is the bad part. I can go further and put all of these files as well as the recorded fun of you and your hacked contents with hardcore videos. Then they proceed to say, send me $1,300 and I won't send it. Well, that got me really interested. Because I was like, there's no way people are actually dumb enough to fall for this scam, right? They have made a total of $4,547. So that makes me wonder, what type of videos are these people who are sending the money watching? Look, I'm not telling people to do this, but they've made about $5 grand in like 4 days. Not that bad. But the real question is, what type of videos were these people watching where they felt scared enough to actually send the money? Be sure to like and follow for more videos tomorrow.
This little boy lost his life by treadmill due to his father. So this man is currently on trial for this. So I just watched the video, and on the video, the little boy seems to be walking for a long time. The father walks over, speeds up the treadmill while talking to the little boy. Then he speeds it up some more. Then he inclines it, and the little boy is struggling. You can see his little legs just going as fast as they can to keep up with the treadmill. Like he's full on sprinting, and at some point, he can't keep up, and he falls off, like he just rolls off the treadmill and hits the ground. The father picks him up, tosses him back on the treadmill, bites him on top of the head while holding him down on the treadmill and making his feet keep up with the speed. As soon as the father lets him go, he rolls off the treadmill again, bumps his head, hits the floor. He jumps up, gets back on the treadmill, tries to keep up with it again, falls. He repeats this about 3 or 4 times. That's where the father is biting him on the head right there. So eventually the father does slow the treadmill down and brings the incline down, but he makes the boy continue to run. So the father and the mother does have like some type of joint custody, shared custody type of situation, I guess. And the mother is the first one to report the injuries to child protection. And she tells him to take their son to the hospital, and he does. While at the hospital, that's when the little boy revealed that his father made him run on the treadmill because he was fat. This little boy is little, even if he was fat. And so the next day when they wake up, the little boy is stumbling, he's slurring his words, he's nauseous, so he does rush him to the hospital. And while they're getting a CT scan, the little boy has a seizure, and they have to take life-preventing measures, and they were unsuccessful. The little boy did pass away. Now, the autopsy revealed that there were blunt force injuries. It was cardiac and liver contusions, sepsis. There was lacerations on his heart and liver. Now, if you go to YouTube and watch the video, because his father is currently on trial, and it shows the video, when y'all see how hard this little boy kept hitting that treadmill when he fall, and the way his dad would put him back on there, you'll see why he had the injuries that he had. And they have offered the father a 30-year plea deal, and he turned it down. They got footage. I'm glad he turned it down. He gonna get even more time.
This is his own kid, man. People are just
3
monsters.
children were found in a basement wrapped like mummies. In 2003, the Pasadena area was shaken when 4 young children went missing over an 18-month period. There were no witnesses, no leads, and this left the entire community terrified. The case finally broke when police received a 911 call from a boy who went by the name of Mikey and said, "My mom is scaring me." Sheriff Robert Miller went to the home for what should have been a routine welfare check, but he never made it out. He was later found deceased inside and mauled so badly that investigators never really knew what exactly happened to him. Once police arrived, they started searching the home, and they went down in the basement, and that's when they discovered 3 of the missing children. Each one was deceased, and they were wrapped in fabric like mummies, and they were placed in disturbing positions. The person behind these kidnappings was Abigail Reed, and she wasn't in the basement. She was found upstairs in a hollow hallway. In the kitchen, investigators had discovered a handwritten note that they believed that Abigail had wrote. The note said, "The 4th one is different. He's drawn to the darkness. He'll survive because he's the one." The 4th child that she is talking about is that young boy who called 911, whose real name is Michael Morris. During captivity, Abigail had brainwashed him into thinking that she was his real mother. Police had discovered him locked in a closet, malnourished, and deeply traumatized. After that incident, Michael had spent nearly 20 years in a psychiatric hospital in San Bernardino County. But in October of 2024, he was released. Around that same time, Abigail's younger sister Alice was promoting a book about her sister's life and crimes, and all of that publicity triggered Michael. On Halloween night, Michael had attacked Alice in her home, unalived her boyfriend before heading to the TV studio where she had just appeared. Once he was there, he opened fire and unalived 7 people before stabbing the host, Jennifer Novak. Jennifer fought back, turned the knife on him, and stabbed him in the face. Michael survived, was arrested, and is currently awaiting trial in 2026. To this day, Michael has never really explained what happened inside of that house, and in fact, he has never spoken a single word since that incident. But here's the twist, none of this is real. The missing children, the disturbing note, the boy who never spoke, even the Halloween massacre, it's all a part of a chilling plot for a brand new horror movie called Traumatica. This film blends horror with the realism of true crime to make you think that this was just ripped from the headlines. And that's what makes it so terrifying.
The child is believed to have been abducted from his home.
Don't make a sound. If I can hear you or see you, then the monster will come and get you.
You look nervous.
Dramatica hits theaters September 12th, so let me know if you're gonna go see it.
They give me scary vibes, bro.
Dis-moi qui est le plus beau, qui t'a devenu un mégalo. Viens donc chatouiller mon ego. Allez, allez, allez.
We ain't going to sleep. Not with you looking like that, bro. The dog started turning his head too. That's when it started getting off a different vibe. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. Thank you guys for the support. Make sure you guys comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Follow me on my social medias. You guys gonna catch in the next one. I'm out. Peace, you dude.
Under a microscope, it looked just like crystals. When you put tears under a microscope, this is what tears and grief look like. Tears of timeless reunions. Tears of laughing and crying. Tears of release. This is more images of what tears look like under a microscope. Remember, water has memory, so every time you release some of your tears, you're releasing some of your memories. If you ever start crying and tears fall from your right eye first, that means happiness. If tears fall from your left eye first, that means tears of sadness. If tears fall from your eye at the same exact time, that means your body is doing a natural detox. Every time someone speaks about a detox, they speak about herbs, plants, and fasting. Did you know that crying is the greatest detox you can do? The image you are looking at right now in the background is tears when you cry at the same exact time. You ever ask yourself why they always say men shouldn't cry? They said if a man cries, it makes him weak, but it's really the opposite. When a man cries, it recharges his whole physical body to get more strength. So next time you want to do a natural detox, go outside while it's raining and start crying and watch how your body recharge.
I swear. Okay. I didn't know crying was a detox. It's crazy, man, how each different emotion, bro, they look different under the microscope. We're learning.
Thank God I'm at the Asian market. Look, I ain't never seen no motherfucking black chicken. The fuck out of here.
What?
What? The fuck? Oh shit.
Today marks 10 years that my sister has been gone. I have told this story before on Facebook. A couple of years ago, I told this story on TikTok. And I'm just trying to spread awareness. So TikTok, please understand this is for educational purposes only. My sister was unalived by her husband using witchcraft, black magic, root is what we call it in the South, because he didn't want her to be successful. He was very jealous of her and he didn't want her to succeed. It is a long story, but I just wanted to put it out there that I will be telling the story again. I just need to get through this day. What y'all need to understand is this shit's real and that it could happen to anybody. So let me get through this day, and I will post part 1 probably tonight or tomorrow. And this time I'm gonna go in a bit more detail about what happened, why we caught it so late, and just try to understand that this could happen to anybody. She was beautiful, she was smart, she had children, she was talented, she had a lot going for herself. And when you are a powerful woman, and you come across a needy man, stay tuned for part 1. I just need to get through this day and then I will put up part 1.
Sounds scary. I don't know what he
I
did.
knew exactly who will be playing in this year's Super Bowl just by looking at the logo. The NFL really thought the neon colors would throw us off. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically every year the NFL releases their Super Bowl logo, and for the past few years, the 2 primary colors that are in the logo have also been the primary colors of the teams that end up playing in the Super Bowl. And you're trying to tell me this isn't scripted? Anyway, back to this year. Let me show you what this looks like with the saturation turned down. We go from pink and lime green to our primary colors being purple and blue. If you're thinking, hey, what about the red right there? The game is in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge is red. So do not even try to tell me that that little bit of red means the Chiefs are going to be in this year's Super Bowl, because I cannot handle that. There's also a shocking amount of green on this logo, but that'll all make sense when I tell you what teams these are. The blue is obvious. It's the Lions, whose primary colors are really just blue. And the purple is even more obvious. It's the Ravens. And here's where that green starts to make sense. The Ravens' main color is not just purple, it's also gold. And gold is really just yellow. But the Lions don't have another color, so they kind of just rock with blue. And what happens to blue when it's mixed with gold or yellow? It turns green. So nice try, NFL, but the script has officially been leaked again. Lions-Ravens Super Bowl 2026.
There's some crazy... If that's true, we're coming back to this video. Called it Lions-Ravens 2026.
Things happening in the world right now. A man in Michigan, known for his generosity in his community, made one final gesture to thank his community by literally making it rain cash from a helicopter at his own funeral using his life savings. He was a beloved car wash owner in East Detroit, and he died from Alzheimer's at 58 years old. Sounds like a great guy. We can now help the US government pay down its debt using Venmo and PayPal. Yippee! A Florida man was arrested for drunk driving a lawnmower down a highway. McDonald's had an AI hiring tool that's password was 123456, which someone apparently guessed and exposed the data of 64 million applicants to McDonald's. And everyone is welcome classroom sign is violating a new Idaho law. The law says that you're not allowed to put up political statements as signs in classrooms. I guess, okay. A teacher was banned recently in Wales for drinking alcohol, swearing at other teachers, and dancing to the Macarena while under the influence of alcohol. Obviously, or not obviously, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to dance to the Macarena, I guess.
I want y'all to go look up how many black truck drivers go missing. If you have a truck driver in your family, you need to send them as many videos as you can, because the stories are here on TikTok. Let me tell y'all what's going on. They had a black man, 38 years old. He talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning. When he talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning, he told his wife he was getting down, off the interstate to go get some coffee. She never talked back to him ever again. I think his wallet and I believe the truck was found or something like that. But she haven't heard from her husband at all. So who has snatched this man? Where's this man? You think he just up and just left it and just, come on, bro? What's really going on? But I want y'all to go and look up truck drivers, black truck drivers that has went missing. You'll be surprised the stories that's out there. Though it's just not safe. And I know me and my husband has traveled, and we done got down on in these little towns to stop to get gas, and it just don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? So sundown towns are real, guys. I actually talked to my nephew because he's a truck driver, and he told me he walked in a store, and he said, Auntie, everything just got quiet. So basically he knew he wasn't, he wasn't comfortable, or he wasn't supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew the people had a problem of him being there. Talk with your loved ones, okay? And guys, share this man's story. I'm going to hashtag his name, okay? I'm praying for his family. Hugs and love. If you are a black truck driver, please be careful. Again, hugs and love. Y'all be blessed, J-Lo.
Thanks for the warning. Is he looking for his keys in his mouth? Oh yeah, he's cooked. I don't know what he on, bro. I don't know what was going through his mind.
In our food. Watch this. This is insane. There's no way sweet tea does this.
Like Jello.
No way. Stay weird, y'all. That's goop. None of these places are safe to eat at anymore. Can anyone explain why this happens? As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
I just watched a video of that girl saying that everything's been so crazy because there's a time traveler who keeps going back to 2020 to try to fix things, make shit right, but he keeps fucking it up. Listen, I know y'all think I believe everything, but here's why I believe that. Because y'all don't remember this time last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, that time traveler that was caught at the Airbnb in that shed on that guy with the Airbnb host ring camera. Bro, whatever you believe, okay? He went in, he was in his 20s, he came out, he was in his 50s, 60s. We never seen him again. You gotta be kidding. He's still out here. He's still out here. It was the same guy, the same shaped forehead, the same glasses. He looked at the camera. It's the same guy. He's still out here trying to make changes. That's where we're getting all these Mandela effects from. Didn't they look him up too, and they found his name, and they found that he was involved in like quantum physics and astrophysics.
Wow.
You can't make it up. That's him. He's still out here.
Our sensory systems were not shaped to show us the truth. They were shaped to keep you alive long enough to reproduce successfully. Darwin's theory says the probability is zero that any sensory system, like eyes, ears, smell, touch, taste, has ever been shaped to see any aspect of objective reality truly. What you do experience is sensory systems that guide adaptive behavior.
So your eyes, your nose...
They guide you so that you act in ways that you don't die too quickly.
Okay.
And you can have kids that don't die too quickly. That's all it's about.
If you just imagine, like, wipe off everyone on the earth and it's just you, and we remove all of your senses, what is in that space? Because you're right, my senses, my eyes, my ears, my ability to understand temperature is a byproduct and consequence of me surviving. If we think about ghosts and the afterlife, maybe there was no reason from a survival perspective that I even needed to be able to see or acknowledge them. Maybe it just didn't help. So anybody that could process all that information wouldn't have been good at reproducing, therefore they wouldn't be here. So maybe those of us that are here were just really good at ignoring the other dimensions.
That's what our mathematics says. I think that your intuitions on that are quite right. If you pay attention to anything other than what allows you to have kids, you're wasting your time from an evolutionary point of view.
Oh, what is that?
What the hell is that?
This is a telescope, and I don't know what this looks like. Bacteria or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's so gross. Oh wow, you got it.
4K.
I don't know, y'all. This is kind of creepy.
Very creepy.
If you're trying to reduce your exposure to microplastics, you might have to stop breathing.
New research just confirmed microplastics aren't just in our food and water. We're inhaling them, and at a rate 100 times higher than previously estimated. We can't see them, but they're there. The good news? You can take small steps that actually help. Dust regularly, open your windows, and rethink the synthetic stuff you use every day.
NASA works for the devil, and they found him in the bottom of the ocean in the 60s. So they've been trying to cover up the Sealab 3 project for quite some time. Sealab 3 was this mission where the Navy and NASA partnered up to see the bottom of the ocean to test certain things. But what they were doing was certain types of research. In short, they were trying to get in contact with the devil. Well, at least NASA was. Now, whenever they got to the bottom of the ocean, things got really weird. And there is multiple reports of sabotage. Any of the Navy members that discovered anything for some reason ended up missing. Now, the more fascinating thing about this is one of the supposed astronauts that supposedly went to space, Scott Carpenter, was down there the entire time. Now, they tried so hard to stop the information from coming out that even whenever they did a 2-week decompression period, even that was getting sabotaged. This is all public information too. Please fact check me if you don't believe me. The ocean is the house of the Dajjal or Antichrist, and it is also the house of the devil. There is multiple biblical texts that talk about this. The Quran, the Bible, the Torah all mention about how these sinners or evil people at some point in time throughout all of these stories were going to be sent to the abyss. Now the word abyss means the deepest dark part of the ocean. It comes from the Greek word abyssos, Everything that NASA says is a lie. They are working directly with the devil.
The seismographs at Yellowstone have been down for almost 2 weeks now. People are starting to feel a chill in the air as the seismographs at Yellowstone National Park and the University of Utah, which monitors the Yellowstone supervolcano, have been down. No one has an idea as to why both of them have been down at the same time. However, typically they will let us know when they're about to do maintenance so as to not frighten people. This time that did not happen and they have just been down without a reason. This is directly after this seismograph was recorded at Yellowstone. And as all of this is going on, a man on TikTok is posting videos of the ground shaking. This man lives on a ranch near the Yellowstone National Park. In one of these videos, he has a water bottle on the ground, and as he's recording, you can see several small fissures pop up. And then a bit into the video, the water bottle falls over. And this person has posted many videos of the ground shaking to such an extreme degree that it sounds like water is boiling underneath the surface of the crust.
This man. So we got a freaking super volcano about to go off in the Yellowstone. We see the bison leaving, fleeing. That seismograph was looking scary.
Is scared he will never die. Ismail Azizi from Tanzania has reportedly been declared medically dead by doctors on 6 separate occasions, but has come back to life every single time, and no one can explain how. In a recent documentary by Aframax, they report that the first time he died was after a workplace accident. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and soon after, doctors declared him dead, not some randoms off the street. His body was taken to the morgue while his family started preparing his funeral. But to their bewilderment, he regained consciousness and walked out of the morgue onto the street like he was taking a nap. And that was only round 1. He died again after catching malaria, but this time he made it all the way to the coffin before yet again waking up at his own funeral. Now this became a literal cycle for years. Death 3 was after a car accident where he collided with a fuel tank and put him in a coma. But like clockwork at this point, after being pronounced dead by medical professionals again, he woke up. And at this point, even the doctors were getting freaked out. Death 4 was after he got bit by a venomous snake, but this time he spent a whopping 3 days in the morgue. And that really convinced his family that Ishmael was gone for good this time. But no, because when they went to go retrieve his body for his 4th funeral, he woke up again. Now after his 5th death, he fell into a toilet pit. His community started getting a little scared, and they became convinced beyond reasonable doubt that he was a witch or a ghost. So you know what they decided to do? Burn his house down with him inside to try and kill him for the 6th and final time. And guess what? They were successful until he woke up again. Bro, I'd be scared too. I couldn't die. And now, after all of this, he has to live in an isolated old house with no neighbors, because apparently he's a bit of a local legend and people are too scared to live near him. He also said he can't get a job either as a result of the stigma. Bro, one meeting with JD Vance, cooking for sure.
Why is nobody talking about this? China is back on a lockdown. Just the other day, over 7,000 people was affected with something called the chikungunya virus, a mosquito-borne illness that causes joint pain, fever, fatigue, and in some cases, paralysis. But here's where it gets weird. They're spraying the cities, they're deploying drones everywhere, scanning every rooftop, and if you got standing water and you're not dumping it, they're finding you up to $1,000. I'm even hearing they're cutting people power. Mosquito nets, quarantines. They treating this shit like a biohazard. They're releasing modified mosquitoes. Like that's gonna help or some shit. I feel like that's gonna make it even worse. Y'all know who started the genetically modified mosquitoes, right? Let me know in the comments. And as of right now, the CDC just issued a travel warning. So if you're traveling to China, they advise you not to, unless you really got to. And I don't see a reason why you would really have to go there when something like this is going. Now this. I got some questions. If this was just a regular bug virus, why the lockdown? Why the surveillance drones? And why the severe emergency level response? Maybe this ain't just a virus, y'all. Climate change is making these viruses spread even faster. Y'all never noticed that? And governments already know what's happening. They running drills while a lot of other people still trying to figure out what's going on. But I be hit. You ever wonder what else they know that we don't?
The guy who was caught throwing toys on the WNBA court has finally told us why he did it. And yes, they have finally caught the green toy machine. His name is Caden Lopez, and he is already facing charges of disorderly conduct and ASSULT after his most recentest throw seemed to hit Sophie Cunningham in the leg. Then Kelsey Plum kicked it off the court, and this is where it gets more worser. A lot of people were saying that he was going for Sophie Cunningham specifically after Sophie literally said, "Stop throwing toys on the court, you're going to hurt one of us." Now the WNBA has implemented a no-bag policy for games. And even though a lot of people think that this is super funny, a lot of people are super angry that this is happening. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So the 3 toys that have been thrown have been over the past week in 3 different cities across the United States. The first one in Georgia, the second one in the state of Chicago, and the third one where he got caught in Los Angeles. And people were wondering if it was the same guy all 3 times, as well as how did he sneak them in? Well, it turns out that he snuck in the green toys on his person, which is the most disgustingest thing I've ever heard. He was doing this just because it's funny. Should he be free?
I don't know. I don't think so,
though. Seriously? What the hell? Is that hot here?
It's melting everything.
看到感觉是干嘛呢？我的乖呀，感觉。
What the hell is that? Is that hot?
Want to know how hot it is in Australia? This hasn't been switched on. It's just been baking in the Aussie sun. Just goes to show.
God dang. I don't know how people can live in that heat.
The 3 kids while singing to them. Rachel Henry was a 22-year-old living in Oklahoma. She lost her mom when she was 18, which had a huge impact on her mental health. She got into substance abuse and eventually she lost her job. She then moved to Arizona with her 3 kids and lived at her aunt's house. But she was still addicted and broke. Her addiction was so bad, neighbors saw her walking around the street like a zombie. One night she was alone at the house playing with her 3 kids when all of a sudden she began suffocating her 2-year-old daughter with a pillow. Even her 3-year-old son was punching and kicking Rachel to try and get her to stop, but it was no use. Once her daughter stopped moving, she carried her to the bedroom and wrapped her in a blanket to make it look like she was sleeping. Now she started chasing her 3-year-old son around the house. Luckily, the aunt came home just as this was happening. You won't believe what Rachel told her aunt. Hit the plus for part 2. Disturbing things that you should never look up on Google. Part 2. Bianca Devins was a 17-year-old from New York known for posting e-girl content to her Instagram. In April 2019, one of her followers, 21-year-old Brandon Clark, DM'd her, sparking a romantic relationship between the two. A few months later, Bianca, Brandon, and another friend of theirs named Alex attended a concert together in the Bronx. Sometime during the concert, Brandon caught Bianca kissing Alex, which led to an argument on the car ride home. Brandon eventually began assaulting her and slicing her neck with a knife that he'd hid under his seat. He then got into Bianca's phone and posted and released a video of the murder as well. However, police were notified before he could do so, and Brandon was taken into custody and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Bianca Devins.
Disturbing facts that might ruin your day. There have been at least 2 fatal plane crashes due to wasps. We are all spending more than 6 hours a day on our phones, which is more than 25% of our entire existence. There are job applications out there that are only for collecting data. This is why large companies have positions that they never actually seem to hire. This wildlife painter from the 1800s would eat all of the birds that he painted. Bald eagles, owls, sparrows, robins, whooping cranes. 5,000 mail carriers are attacked by dogs every year. A 6-year-old's family thought he was too friendly with strangers, so they had a coworker that was a stranger to the boy hold him in a truck for 4 hours before lecturing him about stranger danger. Half of all plastic in the world has been created in the last 15 years. Crayons have a derivative of beet fat called stearic acid that is also what gives it its waxy smell. Loneliness can be as harmful to somebody's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
I think the one that got to me the most is our screen time, man. 6 hours on the screen, he said that's 25% of our life. Just looking and staring at the screen, man. Everybody, man, I feel like needs to decrease their screen time. Go out, touch grass, bro. As the people would say, man. Tell me down below, man, if you guys know your average screen time.
One of the rivers that you should never set foot in is Bubbly Creek, located in Chicago. In the 1900s, American meatpacking companies drained their waste into this creek, which caused really toxic fumes due to the decomposition of animal organs and blood. Not even a fish could survive in this creek. In Thailand, there's one area that causes concern, called the Sa Mason Hole. It's a really deep underwater cave, which causes bad visibility for whoever swims there. So unless you want to get lost in the sea, I don't recommend swimming there. The last place is called the Amazon Basin in South America. It's drained by the Amazon River and has lots of predatory animals, like caimans, barracudas, piranhas, and deadly kangaroo fish, which is attracted by urine and can get into your urinary tract and cause a lot of pain. These are the most scariest curses to use in real life, part 3. To perform the third curse, you have to go outside at midnight with a glass cup and make sure that nobody is around you. Then say the person's name you want to curse 10 times over and over again. Next, take the glass cup and throw it on the ground. When it shatters, count how many pieces it is in. Now the number that you get is the amount of days it will take for the person you curse to die. Now pick up every piece of glass, but be very careful. If you cut yourself with the glass while picking it up, the curse will be placed on you instead.
Stop. If you have a dog, you need to know this. When a dog lays on their back with their belly exposed, it means they trust you because that's a very vulnerable position. And when a dog leans against your leg, it's their way of hugging you and showing you love. Dogs get something called the zoomies, which makes them go crazy. And it only happens to dogs that are happy and healthy, so if your dog is doing this, then you're a good owner. When a dog tilts their head, they're curious and trying to figure out whatever it is they're looking at. And finally, dogs sneeze while play fighting to show that they don't want to hurt you. It's their way of saying it's just a joke. You can only follow if you learn something new.
The zoomies, man. My dogs get that all the time. So without knowing, we doing a good job.
Facts you didn't know, part 125. Salomo Aruch was a boxer of Jewish-Greek descent who had to literally fight for his life during the Holocaust. Before arriving at Auschwitz, he had an undefeated record of 24-0. Almost immediately after arriving at the camp, a Nazi commandant asked the new prisoners if there was any fighters or boxers among the group. He raised his hand and he was forced to fight right then and there to prove that he wasn't lying. Within minutes, he defeated his opponent and was immediately presented with another, which he also knocked out. In almost 2 years, he participated in over 200 fights. They would fight until somebody went down or they got sick of watching, but they wouldn't leave until they saw blood. This next one is a prime example as why you should never ride with your feet on the dashboard. Grain Keeley was the passenger of a car that skidded on black ice and careened into a wall in 2006. When the accident occurred, her feet were on the dashboard, causing her knees to slam into her face, breaking almost every bone. She was also left with 2 missing teeth and a brain leak. Following an infection, doctors were forced to remove her forehead for 2 years. Finally, in 2009, she was fitted with a ceramic forehead.
She was last seen at
Keep your feet off the deck.
in San Francisco on Halloween night. 18-year-old Mai Saibu had just started her first semester at Sac City College in Sacramento, California. October 31st of this year, Mai and some of her friends took a little trip to San Francisco to go see Alan Walker, who was performing at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. Around 11 p.m., Mai left the show. She ended up calling an Uber, and that Uber picked her up in front of the venue. There is speculation that Mai and her boyfriend ended up getting into an argument, and that's the reason why she left, but none of this has been confirmed. While she was in her Uber, she had the Uber driver drop her off at the Golden Gate Bridge. At this point, it is now getting close to midnight, and this is the last time that anyone has seen her. Mai is roughly 110 pounds, 4'11", has black hair, brown eyes, and since it was Halloween night that day, she was wearing a pirate outfit. She had a long sleeve white dress on, black leggings, and black heels. Her family is asking for your help. If you have any kind of information on Mai, please contact the San Francisco Police Department. I'm just praying that she is able to reunite with her family again.
Gorillas are
Gotta
unintentionally
find
the
Mario.
funniest animals on the planet. Let me explain. They share 98% of our DNA and also custody of the hatred of getting caught in the rain. Peep the wall hug, peep the face. That's perfect form. You've seen gorillas beat their chest, but have you heard it? Science says it's for intimidation. Whole time. Sounds like Bubble Buddy up in the blicky. There's another thing you hear around gorillas. They eat 30 to 40 pounds of roughage a day, which means gorillas are almost constantly ripping it. Gorillas can walk on two, and you know they sound like Squidward steps doing it. This is a western lowland gorilla, and its genus name is gorilla, and its species is also gorilla. And this particular gorilla is a subspecies of gorilla called gorilla, meaning its full scientific name is gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Sound like a designer song. Fun fact, the name gorilla comes from an ancient Greek word meaning a tribe of hairy women. Gorillas are a walking tribe of intrusive thoughts. They don't think it, they just do it. Yeah, we're not that different. You ever lock in for too long and just start tweaking? Yeah, that 98 something serious. We twins for real. You know that's his girl and you know that's not the first time. You want more? Okay, gorillas have been recorded singing and humming while eating. Okay, last one. Coco the gorilla was famous for using sign language. She was also attracted to humans after being raised by them and was obsessed with the milk faucets, to the point where several women were apparently told to flash Coco. There was a lawsuit, but Coco never got charged, but it proves that gorillas are like us. They can multitask and look at two things at once.
Oh, Coco the gorilla, he was on timer, bro. Those women actually did it. That's
This is the
crazy.
disturbing truth behind ants. Okay, so did you know when ants die, a certain juice leaks out of their body, which tells the other ants to bury it. But sometimes those juices get on alive ants. And no matter how much they squirm and try and tell the other ants that they're not dead, the other ants just won't listen and bury it alive. So if you ever saw ants carrying each other, this is the reason why, and there's a very high chance that that ant is still alive and is about to get buried alive. Myths, you still believe?
The more you know, Seekers. I never even knew ants freaking secreted a liquid like that. Part of the ecosystem, I guess, man. But I wonder how many times, man, that juice got on a live ant, bro, and they accidentally were able to be freaking friends or part of their, group alive. Makes you think, doesn't it?
About Canada Part 3. Canada is ruled by Britain. Canada is a parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy. However, the King of Britain is only a figurehead, but he really only fills ceremonial and symbolic roles as needed, and is represented by the Governor-General here in Canada. We have our own government with a Prime Minister and a Parliament that makes decisions like what laws we need to adhere to, and they are elected in similar to the US, except they have a president. People don't lock their doors in Canada. In his documentary Bowling for Columbine, Michael Moore made the bold statement that Canadians felt so safe they refused to lock their doors. His theory was that we were totally unafraid of crime. Well, while we are a safer country than the United States regarding assaults and homicides, we do have a lot of property and car theft. Actually, more than America. So yes, we lock our doors.
Kind of depends when you were born, but do you remember
I kind of knew that
anything
was
about this
cap.
movie? One thing. There's a reason that Return to Oz is considered to be one of the most disturbing films that Walt Disney Pictures ever put out. Basically, the premise is that Dorothy has come back from Oz, and everybody in her life believes that she is mentally ill. So, like a perfectly good farm family, they submit her to an asylum. At this asylum, she is supposed to receive electroshock therapy. She then escapes the asylum with the help of this anonymous accomplice. They end up jumping into a nearby river to escape the building, but then they get washed away from each other. Dorothy then wakes up again in Oz. She has a talking chicken named Bellina, and it's like the entire place has been overrun with this gang called the Wheelers. They are so scary. Not only that, but she encounters Princess Mumbai, a headless woman with a collection of heads.
First games you should never play. Part 35. Gnome Gnome Come. This game will allow you to have any wish come true. You'll need 3 or more people to play this game, and you'll also need to start in a dark room. Tie one end of a thread to the leg of a chair or the leg of a table. Now one by one, have every player wrap a piece of candy to this thread. As each player ties their candy, make a wish. This can be anything, but do not say it out loud. Once everyone has made their wish and put their candy on the string, have everyone face away from the chair. And now have one player turn off the lights. Once this is all complete, you should all chant Gnome Gnome Come 3 times. Now wait and do not move. Listen carefully for any movement, rustling, or candy grabbers crinkling. If you do hear anything, the game is going as it should be. But do not turn around until this noise stops. Once it does stop, you can turn on the lights and go look at the candy. And if your candy has been unwrapped, bitten, or eaten entirely, your visitor has chosen to grant your wish.
These are the 9 deadliest animals to humans. You may think they're polar bears, lions, or even sharks, but they're not. Wait till you see these. Number 9, hippos, 500 human deaths per year. Number 8, elephants, 600 deaths per year. Number 7, saltwater crocodiles, 1,000 deaths per year. Number 6, roundworms, 2,500 deaths per year. Number 5, scorpions, 2,600 deaths per year. Number 4, assassin bugs, 10,000 deaths per year. Number 3, saw-scaled viper snakes, 138,000 deaths per year. Number 2, freshwater snails, 200,000 deaths per year. And finally, number 1, mosquitoes, 725,000 to 1 million deaths per year. We are afraid of the wrong creatures.
We really are. I didn't know mosquitoes had, if we can count that high. The top 3, man, definitely surprised me. And snails, too? Well, they said freshwater or saltwater snails. That's why I stay out of the ocean, man. It's a scary place. But that mosquitoes joints.
A few months back, I went to a film festival and I watched a movie that I can't stop thinking about, and the release date is so soon. It's been in my top horror movies of 2024, and I have a little sneak peek, and I can't wait for you guys to see.
Behind that door.
Could you open the door? What do you want?
Trying to save her?
I saw you come out of the house just now. You went to the car to get something. You left this door open behind you. Somebody went inside.
What?
I saw you go to your car and you left the door open. Somebody slipped inside. They're in there now.
I didn't see anyone.
I know that. Your back was turned.
Oh crap.
What are you doing standing outside my house?
Would you just open the door? I'm trying to help you.
Would you open it? I don't know.
The fiance of the ice hockey star who died from a freak accident has paid tribute to her sweet angel. Nottingham Panthers player Adam Johnson's throat was cut by an opponent's skate blade when they collided during a match against the Sheffield Steelers on Saturday. The 29-year-old briefly stood up, bleeding profusely onto the ice before collapsing again. He received immediate medical attention with CPR performed on the ice and was taken to hospital but could not be saved. His girlfriend, who he proposed to in the summer, has paid tribute on Instagram saying, "Sweet, sweet angel, I'll miss you forever and love you always."
If you could rack your brain right now to ask yourself what is the most disturbing Disney Channel original movie, which one would you pick? If you chose Don't Look Under the Bed, you're correct, because the movie actually almost never even made it to television. Any of the sequences that did eventually make the cut were considered so disturbing, this is actually one of the only Disney Channel original movies that has a TV PG rating. Anne Sweeney, who was the president of Disney Channel at the time, as well as countless other executives, had a lot of issues with this film. And even to this day, there are still some sequences, some scenes that have never seen the light of day. They were not going to be included in the movie. And I think in part, the credit should go to the director, who was really trying to creatively push the boundaries of what could be included in children's horror. Even just beyond the disturbing imagery, they explored some pretty dark themes in a children's movie, starting to play with psychological horror when Frances can see things that everybody else thinks she's crazy for. In 2006, Disney Channel had to pull it from the October catalog. It will not be on Disney Channel again.
I stopped the series at part 17
I need to check it out.
1 year ago, but now I'm bringing it back. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Number 1. There are more bones in gummy worms than real worms. Number 2. When you kiss a person in the mouth, you exchange over 80 million types of bacteria. Number 3. In July 2020 in Panama, 7 people were found dead after an exorcism. The demons that possessed these 7 people were not happy with the exorcist, so they took the lives of these 7 people before the job was done. Number 4. 2 days ago, the state of Texas declared war with the United States. Number 5. It is physically possible to be so constipated that your stool will back all the way up your digestive tract and you will vomit your poop. Number 6. Pandas' diet is mostly vegetarian, but they will eat meat. The reason they don't is because they are too lazy to hunt down other creatures. Number 7. Your eyes have a separate immune system from the rest of your body. Once your body's immune system discovers you have eyes, it will attack and inflame the blood vessels in the back of your eyes until you completely lose your vision. Number 8. The average person eats 5 grams of microplastics in a week. That's about the exact amount of plastic on a credit card. Yeah.
A woman's body was found stuffed in a duffel bag, and the culprit was the last person anyone expected. When a woman's body was found stuffed in a duffel bag in Forest Park in New York City, police knew they were hunting for a dangerous murderer. It was the 16th of April 2022. Investigators identified the victim as 51-year-old Orsolya Gal. She was a local married mum of 2 who lived in a beautiful $2 million property. Officers began to unravel secrets that would stun the community. She'd been stabbed almost 60 times, so officers knew that this was a crime of passion. The crime was incredibly personal, and she tried to fight back and had defensive wounds on her hands and fingers. Police noticed drag marks and blood droppings. They determined that the bag with her body inside had been dragged from one location to the other. Officers followed the bloody trail back to her house. Now, the woman, who was originally from Hungary, told her son that she was going out that evening. Her husband, Howard, and her other son, Jamie, were actually out of town in Oregon looking for college options for him. She reportedly returned home that evening just after midnight. Investigators determined that her killer had turned up between the hours of 12:03 and 12:30 a.m. This was 44-year-old David Bonilla. The pair had been having an affair and was said to be on-off. He therefore knew that the spare key for the house was hidden in the barbecue in the garden. They apparently got into a heated argument when he decided to stab her. Police scoured the area for CCTV and saw this haunting clip. It shows a figure dragging the duffel bag down the road. Now, this was at around 4:30 a.m. David was charged with murder but pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter. He was therefore given just 25 years in prison.
Guys, the world's largest spider web has just been discovered, and it also contains over 110,000 spiders. Napalm. And if that's not wild enough, the webs cover an area of 1,140 square feet. For Americans, that's half a basketball court, just straight webs. And perhaps us humans can take some notes, because what researchers say is significant is they found 2 different species of spiders living there together peacefully. Researchers made this discovery in a sulfur cave along the Albanian-Greek border, and it's now believed to be the largest spider web ever discovered. The most
Seekers, how much money would someone have to pay to go into that web, bro? To go to that cave, man, to see that big spider web. It could be me, man. We don't do spiders over here, bro.
Popular meme from every month of this year. Let's take a look back at the most popular meme of January. Well, it was Squid Game memes, and it was specifically this one. However, moving on to February, the most popular meme was when the Gulf of Mexico was changed to the Gulf of America here in America, and people started changing it to literally everything else. Next, in March, it was Italian brain rot, which is still super viral. However, in April, it was chicken jockey. Yeah. Those were some interesting times. However, in May, it was 100 men versus 1 gorilla. I still think that 1 gorilla would win. Now, the most popular meme of June is this guy pointing at himself in this stock photo. I wonder if he knows he's so viral. However, in July, the most popular meme is the Dexter I Can't Prove It meme. It's already a classic.
moving on, in August, it was this Shrek meme. I swear Shrek always has one of the most viral memes every year. However, September, it was the 6-7 meme, which is still everywhere. And in October, it was this rabbit pointing at the clock meme. We're currently in November, and December hasn't happened yet, so I can't tell you what's the most popular yet, but I will at the end of the year.
Can you tell me if my breath stinks? Ooh, dude, just lick the back of your hand, wait for it to dry, and then smell it. That's what we're all smelling right now. Oh man, I have gum in my hair. Can you get it out? By putting some ice on it, it'll actually harden up all the fibers, making it easier to pull away from the hair strands. There's no way this is gonna work. Huh. I got a splinter and I don't have any tweezers. I got 3/4, make them into tweezers. I'm keeping the change. You wouldn't by chance know how to get rid of this fat-ass acne scar, would you? Put some honey on it, maybe a Band-Aid too. What if the bees come after me? Honey has very strong antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and wound-healing abilities. Trust me, okay? My dad was a beekeeper. Ugh, whatever. It's a long shot, but you wouldn't by chance know of a really inconvenient way to flip the food in this pan, would you? Flip the pan. Flip the pan. Flip the pan. Flip the pan. Thanks. Make sure there's no oil or liquids in it, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, please don't. You tell somebody flip the pan, bro, someone will actually do that, bro, over the day. Oh, man. You have to tell them step by step, bro.
The father who left his 2-year-old daughter to die in a hot car while he played video games and watched porn spoke about this case briefly last year, but there's been some major updates. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the summer of 2024, 2-year-old Parker passed away after she was left in a hot car while she slept. Mind you, it was about 109 degrees in that car. She was left in there for 3 hours until her mom came home and asked, "Where's Parker?" And you guys know how hot it gets in Arizona in the summer. The father, his name's Christopher, he was supposed to be taking care of the kids while the mom was working, but instead he was playing video games and watching porn. When police arrived to the house, 2-year-old Parker was already deceased, and body cam footage shows Christopher really upset with police because they were questioning him. Like, sir, you just took your own daughter's life. What did you think was going to happen? Then they find text messages between Christopher and his wife, and it shows that this wasn't his first time doing this. She had told him so many times to stop leaving the kids in the car. Even his 2 other daughters admitted that this was a normal thing their father did. Anyways, so he was arrested, but then was released on bail. So he traveled with his wife and 2 other daughters to Hawaii for vacation, which I don't know how his wife is even able to look at him after what he did. But now, fast forward, and Christopher was supposed to turn himself in this month, and he was most likely gonna get 30 years in prison. It's that this man knew that the car AC automatically turned off on its own, and he didn't think to go check on his daughter once for those 3 hours. First of all, it's dangerous leaving a child unsupervised in a car outside by themselves despite having the AC on. And also, the wife was a doctor, and she knew more than anyone how dangerous the situation was, yet she still left her daughters with this man.
Top 3. The fact that it makes it even worse was when she said Arizona, but do you know how hot it gets over there, man? In Arizona? Bro, we getting so hot, man, you could literally, like, you can crack an egg on a sidewalk and you can fry it, bro. Or you pour water on it and it just freaking boils, man. It's no joke over there.
Urban legends that turned out to be true. Part 1. Number 3. The sewer crocodile. One of the most famous urban legends is about a crocodile living in the city sewers. While it may sound unbelievable, there have been several cases where crocodiles have been found in sewer systems. For example, in 2010, a young crocodile was discovered in the sewers of New York City, confirming the truth behind this urban legend.
Killer croc.
Number 2. Spiders and bananas. According to this urban legend, venomous spiders frequently hide in imported banana bunches. This story has proven to be true on multiple occasions. In 2005, a British family found a venomous spider, known as the Brazilian wandering spider, in a bunch of bananas they purchased from a supermarket. This case confirmed that there is some truth to this urban legend. Number 1. The killer. Hiding in the back seat. This urban legend tells the story of a psychopathic killer who hides in the back seat of a person's car and attacks when they are distracted. While it's difficult to find specific cases that exactly match this legend, There have been incidents where dangerous individuals have gained access to the backseat of cars and attacked their occupants. These events have confirmed the importance of being cautious and checking the inside of one's car.
Always, man. You gotta be on 10.
You won't believe.
This is one of the most dangerous foods in the world, and both its source and preparation process are pretty intense. First, the chef throws chopped scallions, garlic, and onions into a big pot for the first round of cooking. Then, he tosses in a huge bear paw to simmer along with the veggies. About an hour later, the paw is ready to come out. After cleaning it up, he uses tweezers to remove all the hair. The high heat makes it pretty easy to strip the fur right off, and even the nails fall off with a gentle touch. Once the paw is cleaned again and dried off, he wraps it up and places it in another big pot filled with more ingredients, adding dates and honey.
So y'all just gonna eat anything?
Then, it's back on the heat for round 2. After cooking, the bear paw turns out plump and juicy, with a nice bouncy texture. The most crucial step is the third round of cooking. He slices up some mushrooms.
Okay, mushrooms look good.
In a ladle of the broth, places the mushrooms at the bottom, and puts the bear paw on top. After drizzling some broth over it, he lets it simmer on low for about half an hour. In the end, that rich bear paw soaking in the sweet broth gives an irresistible aroma. A gentle slice with a knife makes the meat fall apart. So would you dare to try this dangerous yet tempting delicacy?
I must have manifested. See, cause y'all eating some bear paw, bro? Tell me down below, man. I need to know if y'all gonna eat that, bro. I don't think I could, man.
This is some nonsense, because the day I talked about Florida's herpy monkey problem, a truck full of them overturned and released a mess of lab monkeys into Mississippi. The problem is, the monkeys are also feared to be infected with several diseases, like hepatitis C. On top of that, according to officials, the rhesus monkeys are aggressive and need to be neutralized, which is a cute way to say it's on site. Now, I will say, after reports came out that the monkeys could be DoorDashing death and disease, Tulane University came out with a statement and said that the monkeys had not been exposed to any infectious agent. But they also made sure to let us know that they didn't own the monkeys and were not responsible for their transport. Also, it was first reported that all but one of the fugitives were put in past tense. Except then the sheriff's department said, actually there's 3 of them left and we're still looking for them. So I don't know what the hell's going on. There's already been one mother of 5 that woke up to a monkey in her yard. And after upping the Thule like Winnie the Pooh, only one of them was left alive. So here's what we know so far. 21 monkeys riding on a truck. When it fell down, most got folks called the sheriff, and the sheriff had a scare when he said 3 monkeys are still out there. Till her mama woke up, and with what she had to do, she brought 3 monkeys down to 2. That's all we know for now, so the more you know. Also, this literally happened last year.
Here were some of the best celebrity Halloween costumes of 2025. Of course, I have to start every Halloween list with the Queen of Halloween, Heidi Klum, who unveiled her Halloween costume for this year to be a very frightening Medusa. And obviously, in their usual fashion, her husband, Tom Collins, joined in on the fun where he went as a warrior turned to stone by herself, Medusa. Heidi Klum stated that it took them about 10 hours to get into these costumes, that everything on them is hand-painted, and that there were 15 people working on the costume. Iconic as always. Another celebrity that always nails Halloween is Janelle Monáe, and she went as the Cat in the Hat this year. Janelle revealed that her costumes, just like Heidi's, do take a lot of time to put together, anywhere from 3 to 9 hours. But my favorite thing about her is that she commits to the bit, she acts like the character, and she even went on the Jennifer Hudson show in costume. Just in time for the TV series It, Welcome to Derry, Ed Sheeran dressed up as Pennywise himself. Not only that, but Ed Sheeran went in full costume to bars, to drink beer all around New York City, and I'm obsessed with that. Next we have Quen Blackwell and Larry, who went as white chicks. They had the looks down to the T, and my favorite thing was how committed they were to the bit that they fully reenacted an entire scene for their YouTube channels. One thing about me, I love a Lizzo Halloween costume, and this year Lizzo went as a Chili's mozzarella stick. The Chili's mozzarella sticks have been trending all over social media for a while now, so I love this, but one thing about me is I hate a mozzarella stick, dare I say. Celebrity family costumes always melt my heart, and Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, and their son Jack Bieber went as the Incredibles. Chloe Bailey looked absolutely stunning when she went as Beyonce's Foxy Cleopatra from Austin Powers Goldmember. Charlie D'Amelio absolutely devoured Halloween this year when she gave us not just one Cher look, not just 2 Cher looks, but 3 Cher-inspired Halloween costumes, and every single one one she ate down. Every year we see at least one celebrity dress up as Jessica Rabbit, and it's always good, but sometimes I'm like, it might be overdone. However, Leah and Miguel from Love Island USA went as Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit, and I am obsessed with this couple's costume. Because yeah, you can go as Jessica Rabbit, everybody does it, but get you a man who will dress up as Roger Rabbit. Paris Hilton had so many Halloween costumes this year, but my favorite had to be the family Peter Pan costume. Paris is dressed as Tinkerbell, her husband is Captain Hook, her kids are Peter and Wendy. If you can see her dog over here, he might be covered, but he is dressed as Smee. Looking unrecognizable, we have Jade Thirlwall, who dressed up as Greta from Gremlins 2. Lastly, someone who loves a transformation for Halloween is Amelia de Moldenberg, who dressed up as the Devil. I love her attention to detail. She did Roz last year. The Devil this year is incredible. I'm obsessed. Let me know in the comments who your favorite was, and let me know who I should add in part 2.
I don't think I would ever dress up as that. Halloween, bro. Those are some crazy costumes, man.
These are some facts that could save your life one day. If you've been stabbed or punctured by a sharp object, your immediate thought's probably going to be, I need to get this out of my body right now. But unfortunately, that's the last thing you want to do. When you get stabbed by an object, it actually is used as a plug to stop the bleeding from happening. And if you take it out, you're going to start pouring blood everywhere, you're going to lose more blood, and you'll die. This is a pretty simple one that I talked about before, but if you ever are at the beach and you hear a roaring sound, the ground starts to shake, or you notice the water starting to recede from the shore very quickly and a lot farther than normal, run for your life to high ground. This is because these are all the telltale signs that a tsunami is headed directly for you. And yeah, you're just not going to make it out of that if you stay on the beach. And this is perhaps the most important one that I have. If you're ever traveling abroad or you're not in your home country, most places, especially over in Europe, you can use your phone and dial 112. This will automatically connect you to the nearest emergency service, and they'll get you the help that you need. Also, even if you don't have phone service, you can dial 911 in America, and it will still contact you through to a dispatcher. Look, I'm just trying to help you out over here today, alright? And that's why
this barber was touching himself while cutting the hair of a little boy, and the mom just let it happen. In October of 2025 in Texarkana, Arkansas, a woman named Crystal took her son to go get his hair cut. Before the initial haircut, Crystal was in contact with the barber, 32-year-old Jodacy Sam Juan Smith. In these leaked text messages, Jodacy is asking Crystal if it's okay if he pleasures himself while giving her son a haircut. Instead of Crystal saying no, reporting it, or making sure that her son never steps foot near this barber, all she says is, "Don't let my baby see that," and he replies saying he won't. Even though Crystal knows what's going to be going on, she still takes her son to this barber shop knowing that Jodacy is going to be pleasuring himself, and she doesn't see a problem with it. This photo was taken and leaked online. It's of Jodacy touching himself while giving the young boy a haircut, and I'm not sure if Crystal is the one who took it or if this was somebody else. Police were made aware of this incident, and they issued a warrant for Jodacy's arrest. As of right now, authorities are still trying to look for Jodacy, but I also feel like Crystal should be arrested as well. This poor boy was brought to this horrible situation, and as a parent, you're supposed to protect your child, not put them in harm's way. The fact that Crystal even allowed this to happen in the first place makes you think, what happens at home behind closed doors?
I'm camping alone on the world's most haunted island, and this is an update. So the island that I'm on is Poveglia Island in Italy, and it is technically illegal to visit this island, so I would not recommend doing this at home. But at this point, we are just searching the grounds of the island for a proper place to set up my tent. And as you can see in this footage, it started thunderstorming. The thunder and lightning was literally booming and echoing throughout the entire facility. And then we started our paranormal investigation, which I filmed, which was crazy. And I have to say, I felt like I was being watched throughout every hallway. Here is my tent, and at this point in the night, it's almost time for my friend, the boat driver Victor, to head home.
The world is a crazy place to live right now. A top army general is using ChatGPT to make decisions impacting thousands of soldiers. He quote said, "Chat and I have become really close lately, and it helps us all for predicting the next steps." Ireland is making a basic income for artists program that they were testing for the last few years a permanent solution. A girls basketball team in Oklahoma returned their championship trophy after it was decided they actually didn't win. They apparently got the score wrong when they counted it back, causing the team to lose by 1 point instead of win win by 1 point. A man wins his case in court for speeding after a judge determined that there was no evidence he was even driving. The Toronto City Council is saying, quote, pickleballers are making too much racket and could face new rules. Also happening in Toronto's waterfront, microorganisms are coming back to life after being buried in the soil for over 130 years.
That's scary, bro. You don't know what they bring in, man. After 130 years, bro, we need to analyze that expeditiously, bro.
Nothing beats the Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save 50...
To be fair, I'd expeditiously evacuate my soul and my bowels if I saw that in the water. At least if I didn't know what it was. So here's some thresher shark propaganda, because there's honestly nothing to fear. I mean that more for him than you. They're never not looking like they really need an adult. You ever search for social anxiety with gills, you will get a literal baby shark. They look like their own existence is a jump scare. It's because the big eyes help with grocery shopping where the sun barely shines part-time. They are introvert-coded though, as they're shy, avoid people, and have no real record of hurting a human. I think, allegedly. Also, big eye threshers, actual name, they do these like daily migrations where they hide in a dark abyss during the day and only come up to eat at night. Now don't get it twisted, a shark is a shark and nature didn't cook for longer than Saturn's had rings just to make a shark that couldn't defend itself. Except it's not the teeth, it's the 50 Shades of Grey cosplay most people would call a tail. Threshers hunt by slapping the absolute daylights at a prey with that whip-like tail to stun them. But they could also deliver 12 years of prejudice on a person with one hit. There are legends of fishermen messing with a thresher until it whipped its tail and took one of their heads off. Now, do I believe it? Not really, but the same tail that's instant NyQuil to fish, and even some birds, like, yeah, they will pimp slap Tweety right out the air, would easily knock your teeth out and probably break your neck. But then again, if you make this tsundere shark choose violence, you probably earned it. Also, I don't know what the record for shark vertical is, but the thresher is literally up there. Science says it's to remove parasites, disorient prey, or just to flex for females, but either way, I love me some thresher shark, that's all I gotta say.
3 fascinating secrets taken to the grave. Part 1, number 3. Axel Erlandson was a Swedish-American farmer who became famous for his sculpted trees, which he named circus trees. Erlandson never revealed the secrets of his techniques, claiming he spoke to the trees. Even after his death in 1964, the exact method he used to create these incredible shapes remains a mystery. Number 1, the unknown. In the fall of 1816 in Alexandria, Virginia, 2 people, a man and his wife, entered Gadsby's Tavern Hotel. The woman was seriously ill, and despite the care she received, she passed away shortly after. The man, devastated by the loss, buried her anonymously and disappeared, leaving behind a mysterious epitaph on her grave. His identity, as well as that of his late wife, remain an unsolved mystery to this day.
Hey, yo, pause. I know what you're thinking. That's an alien. We call this a salp, and low-key, I don't think they're from this planet. They move around and eat by contracting their muscles to draw water into their bodies through an oral siphon, and shoot that water out from the back, which propels them forward. They're neither fish nor jellyfish, but a special type of animal called a tunicate, also officially known as sea squirts. Soft, sticky, and always wet, they rely on their muscular grip to feed on tiny phytoplankton as their primary food source, which is honestly the least interesting thing about them, because they also have the ability to clone themselves, with a single salp capable of replicating itself into a long chain containing dozens of them tens of meters long. And when linked, they move in complete sync with each other, each salp reacting to the other's rhythms within milliseconds. More like neurons in a brain rather than individual creatures. Some biologists speculate this insane coordination may be a sort of primitive distributed intelligence, where many salps connected together all retain a singular consciousness. And they also have crazy regenerative abilities, with even a tiny piece of one capable of growing into a complete new salp. And as you can tell, they're also almost completely transparent. You can see all of their internal organs from the outside, practically invisible in our oceans. And before you say anything,
she chopped off her 11-month-old's arms because apparently God told her to. 35-year-old Dina Schlosser was a mother of 3 girls and lived in Plano, Texas with her husband John. Once her youngest daughter Margaret was born, she struggled with severe postpartum psychosis and bipolar disorder. In 2004, once Margaret was born, Dina's mental health declined rapidly. She began hearing voices, seeing visions, and told people that a demon was after her baby. And once CPS got involved, they allowed her to still stay at the home with her children as long as she was on medication and under supervision. Over the next few months, John slowly stopped refilling Dina's medication because their pastor claimed that relying on medication showed a lack of faith in God. They were a part of a deeply religious church and believed that mental illness was spiritual, not medical. Once Dina stopped taking her medication fully, she became more unstable, started praying obsessively, and even talked about biblical sacrifice. Just days before tragedy, Dina saw a news report about a young boy who lost his arms after being mauled by a lion but survived. She became obsessed with the story, and to her it wasn't a horror, it was a sign. Dina truly believed that God was showing her this as a sign and that a child could live without their arms. So she started talking about sacrifice, purity, wanting to give her baby to God, and even wanting to give Margaret to their pastor so that he could marry her. On November 21st of 2004, Dina was talking to John that something dark was following their baby Margaret and that God was calling her home. She stayed up that night writing in her journal about how she wanted to give her daughter to God, and John went to bed and went to work the next morning as if nothing was wrong. The next morning, November 22nd, around 10 a.m., Dina was alone in her apartment with 11-month-old Margaret. Church music was playing in the background when supposedly God told Dina to give Margaret to him. So Dina picked up a large kitchen knife and severed both of her daughter's arms. At 10:12 a.m., Dina calls John to let him know that she had just cut off their daughter's arms, and instead of John calling 911, he calls her neighbor to ask if she can go check on Dina because he was busy at work. Once that neighbor entered the apartment and realized what had happened, they immediately called 911. Once police arrived to the apartment, they found Dina covered in blood, calm, with church music playing in the background. Margaret was immediately rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately didn't survive. Dina was charged with capital murder, but a jury found her not guilty due to reason of insanity, and she was sent to a state mental hospital instead of prison. John ended up divorcing Dina, gained full custody of their other daughters, and Dina was permanently banned from contacting them. She was eventually released under strict psychiatric supervision, but was sent back after she was found working at a Walmart near children.